Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of MaidenMagik Monday. I hope everyone is having a wonderful frosty February and had a great Imbolc celebration, which was February 2nd here in the Northern Hemisphere, or February 1st, depending on where you are located or how you choose to celebrate. I hope you had all the baking, a wonderful meal, some crafting, some just personal practice, maybe got some spring cleaning done. I didn't get as much done as I was hoping, but it was pretty thorough. It was good. I'm happy. So, for today, what we are doing, or what I did, I decided to do a baking video for you guys. I had posted a poll on Facebook and Instagram of what you would like to see between traditional oat cake or scones, and you all chose scones, so scones it was. Now, I did use this book, The House Switch by Murphy-Hiscock. If you haven't read this book, I highly recommend it. It's really good if you are a solitary practitioner, if you're just getting started, even if you're an intermediate and you still have questions. She does a really good job of explaining things in a simple, concise manner. I'm not going to get too into that because I would like to do a book review on this particular book. It's going to be, well, hopefully it will be a dual review / discussion with a friend of mine who is also reading this as soon as she finishes the book. So I'm calling you out, finish the book. Now, as for the scones and what I did for Imbolc, there is a very simple basic scone recipe in this book. It's delicious. Now, I didn't follow it 100% because I can't. I am celiac and I have been for going on 3 years now. Not that I didn't enjoy cooking already, but I had to relearn how to cook and bake all my meals. So something I really loved and enjoyed got very frustrating for a while. And baking is something I've done since childhood. It's a lot of fond memories with my grandmother and my mom and just family holidays. So having to relearn that was very hard. And I'm happy I did it. I now bake everything, obviously gluten-free, because if I eat it, I die. Pretty much. Well, I feel like I'm dying. I'm not actually going to die, but I feel like I'm dying. So the basic scone recipe in here is super simple and straightforward. You really shouldn't have to go out and buy anything. If you do, that's okay. I will link the original recipe down below, along with a link for this book, which I already think I said. And then I will put the recipe that I did, because as I said, I did change it slightly because I have to use a different kind of flour. I have to use a particular baking soda, and I jazzed it up a little bit other than the super basic one that is in here. The flour that I use is a really good brand. I like it because it is literally cup for cup with any other type of baking flour, whole wheat, pastry, or otherwise. And it is also vegan. The recipe I made is not vegan, but I am going to have my gluten-free recipe, and then I will do one for all of my wonderful vegan folk out there. That's enough about me, my life, and food. Let's get into baking, shall we? Let's go get started.
Okay everyone, so what you're going to need for this recipe is 2 cups of flour of your choice. You will need a teaspoon of table salt. You will need 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 to 2 tablespoons of honey, 1 large egg, and a 1/4 cup of soft room temperature butter. As you can see, I've pre-cut mine. And then I just have a little bowl of extra flour here off to the side for my pan later, as well as my hands, just so everything's not going to get sticky. And also remember to remove any jewelry that you are wearing so it doesn't get caked in dough if you're anything like me and like to use your hands. first we're going to dump in our 2 cups of flour. And now we're going to measure out our 3 teaspoons of baking powder. Now we're going to add our teaspoon of salt and whisk all of that together and get it nice and blended. Now we're going to set this mixture aside and grab an extra bowl so that we can mix our 1 to 2 tablespoons of honey. I'm using 2. And we need a 3/4 cup of milk. I am using lactose-free milk. As I said, I have some dietary issues, and so does my husband, as he's lactose intolerant, so I'm being all-inclusive for everyone in our household today. Once you add the milk and the honey together, you're going to want to give it a really good stir. If you can get your milk a little bit warmer, that would be good, so the honey melts a little bit. But it does mix fairly well. Once that is thoroughly mixed, we want to grab our flour mixture from off to the side. And we're going to toss in our butter. Now, as you can see, I've already cut mine up into little chunks. You don't need to do this, but with traditional recipes that I do use, it always calls for cold cut butter. So that is one thing I am doing differently here. My butter is actually cold and not room temperature. Now you dump your milk and honey mixture into the flour, and then you're going to crack and whisk your 1 large egg. This recipe does recommend that you whisk the egg in the same bowl that you did the milk and honey mixture, just to pick up any of that extra honey that might be stuck to the bowl. Now we add our beaten egg, and you're just going to grab a wooden spoon and stir everything until combined. Now, as you can see while I'm mixing this, the dough is still a little bit too wet and gummy. What we are looking for is a really smooth consistency, almost like Play-Doh. I thought it was going to be okay until I started kneading in the butter with my hands. As you can see, it's really sticking to my fingers, it's super gummy. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of the extra flour that I had set aside and toss that in. Now I'm starting to get the consistency I'm looking for, as it's starting to form a really nice ball. It's still kind of all stuck to my fingers, but that's one of the joys of baking, is getting down and messy. Now I'm just going to quickly run away and wash my hands until we go on to the next step. Now we're going to grab our baking sheet and the extra flour that we had set aside. You're going to sprinkle that onto the baking sheet in a thin layer to prevent the dough from sticking while it's baking. Also just dusting my hands a little bit, just a good baking practice to make sure that the dough doesn't stick to your hands. Now we're going to gently press this down until it's about 1/4 inch thick. You can go a little bit thinner if you want, 3/4 of an inch or an inch, just depends on how you would like your scones. And we want to keep this in a circle, so it's kind of like a pie. Once you have your desired consistency, you're just going to grab a knife and you're going to score the dough. You don't want to go all the way through, but you're looking to get at least 3/4 of the way so the bottom layer is still attached. And as you can see, I am cutting mine into 8 little triangles. And prior to this, or if you're willing to wait, you want to make sure your oven is preheated to 400 degrees Celsius. And allow scones to bake for 20 to 25 minutes.
Hi, editing and baking witch here. So I just wanted to quickly touch base and tell you guys a quick little secret that I didn't show you in the actual assembly of the scones. At the very end, before I put them in the oven, which they just came out, so look how lovely! Cannot wait to try them. I took a pinch of white sugar and I sprinkled it on top. It actually gives it a really nice crunch. And just that little bit of extra sweetness, because this recipe called for honey, not regular sugar. So I never really follow a recipe 100%. I always kind of make it my own. So that's one way I kind of jazz this one up. So anyway, keep watching.
And here are our lovely finished scones. Thank you everyone so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed my quick little Imbolc baking video. If you did, please subscribe, like, and comment, and let me know what you thought. I look forward to seeing you on the next MaidenMagik Monday.